This is the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with your host, Vicki Davis.
Are you looking for amazing professional development in the new year? Today's sponsor is Edge U Badges from Forward Edge. Stay tuned at the show's end to learn how these powerful micro-credentials can help you with your accreditation needs and for a discount coupon code for a premium account. Now, on with the show. Esports. Oh my goodness. Every school is trying to put in esports. You know, there's esports scholarships. It's a whole industry now because gaming is so powerful. Today we have Danielle Johnson with us. She's Executive Director for the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, which is a teacher-run nonprofit esports organization serving Texas schools. And she works with both bringing esports, but also making sure that those reflect equity, inclusion, and citizenship. Exciting thing is, Danielle, you said that your teacher group is the largest esports organization in the country, and you have more than 60,000 players in your group. That is incredible.
Yes, esports is something the millennials kind of came up with growing up, arcades and at home, and have really pushed it forward in schools. This is a place where teachers are really at influential spot in the industry collectively because teachers love to get together. So we formed an interstate group. We have 14 states that have teacher-run nonprofits that run the esports organizations for their state. So teachers together and the students that we serve are literally the largest esports organization in the country.
Before we get in, I'll tell you the complaints I've heard from parents. My kid plays video games enough. I don't want him to play any more video games. What do you say to those common complaints? And are there other common complaints that you get sometimes?
We have to think of the analog when talking about extracurricular activities. Very few parents would say, my kid's playing basketball too much. I need him to stop shooting hoops in the driveway. I need him to stop going to the park. And so it's a lot the same in how we should be treating esports. Esports competitors have to be, physically fit. They have to be mentally fit in order to focus for as long as they need to. And working as a team, learning those communication skills, learning that those teamwork skills are things that we value in traditional sports, but also flourish in esports.
A school is looking at bringing in esports, and really most schools that I talk to now are either bringing it in or already have it in. How do you start? Because there can be a significant outlay. You're like, well, we've got to have the fast enough internet. We've got to have equipment that doesn't put us at a disadvantage. And then you also, in addition to your players, you typically have a streamer and a broadcaster, right?
Yeah, there is a little bit of outlay. But I know in Texas and in other states that our college career readiness depends on CTE and STEM and other types of electives. And those machines that are used for those classes have the capability to run any game that you want to play on. If a machine will run CAD or Photoshop, it is just fine for esports. You don't really have to have a whole big outlay for those specific things. And same thing with the streamer. The person that does the broadcast is called a shoutcaster, and then they have their producer. And that comes from an old application for internet radio called Shoutcaster. Generally, you have that equipment in your AV. If you watch enough streamers, you realize that some of them are just holding up their phones. So you don't really need a whole ton of equipment. We see our kids do TikTok dances on their phones and post from social media on their phones. None of them need a red camera. None of them are really putting out the capital outlay for some professional equipment. You have some kids in AV, they probably have access to it.
So you're able to have the kids do CAD and Photoshop during the day and then come in and use it multi-purpose after school as kind of like how you would have PE on the football field during the day. And then after school, you might have your football team practice. So you would similar setup. Sponsors. So what are some of the popular leagues that you have with the games? And then is it a problem to recruit sponsors, or are there just a lot of folks who like to help with this sort of thing?
We talking about sponsors like helping us pay for things or sponsors like the teacher, the adult in the room.
A teacher, or I guess you call it a coach.
We actually use the term manager because sponsor means something different in esports. Even if you are great at one game or even played competitively in one title, you don't know them all. So we call the adults in the room, we call them managers. And that's how we do it in Texas. Other places are different. A lot of teams start by students going to their favorite teacher and just asking them to be the adult in the room. As a teacher, you have every single requisite skill that you need to run an esports team, because it's not about knowing the games or the tech. It's about being able to manage children and get them to where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. It runs more like a track meet than anything else. That's the closest comparison. So if you've ever taken kids on a field trip, if you've ever run academic competitions or helped with a track meet, then you absolutely can run an esports team at your school.
So you get the esports program running and you have the kids in the program and they're playing. What are some of the biggest challenges as esports programs grow that schools say they have?
Maybe not from the school end, but what we notice is that unless a program gets institutionalized, it tends to leave when the teacher leaves. And what we mean by institutionalized, we want it to be a stipend position. We want it to go through all of the same hoops that athletics does, because it brings more legitimacy. If you have parents involved, you have to have a parent meeting. If you have a booster club, those kind of things establish longevity in the program. And while you're doing it for your student who might be there, just the fact that you're doing it ensures that the program will still be there when your kid's not.
What are the most popular game leagues? I guess that's what you call it. A game. Is it called a league, or what's it called for the different types of games?
Each title, it runs a lot like track. So there's one meet with a bunch of different events. So we have competitions or tournaments. We call them LANs, and they have lots of different titles within them. There are some common top hits, which are Rocket League, Smash Brothers. Those are both E, rated E for everyone. Smash can be as a group or solo. Rocket League is generally 3-on-3, and it's soccer with cars. Even I understand it. So it's great. But then some of the other top ones are Valorant, Apex. We're adding iRacing this year. Chess in general is considered an esport by many people because you play online. Yes. And you can stream and have all of the hoopla just like you do with everything else. So those are the most common titles, but you can also do Minecraft synchronously, doing Bed Wars and some other games, or asynchronously with the Network of Academic and Scholastic Esports Federations, or NASEF, NASEF. They run several asynchronous Minecraft competitions throughout the school year, including Farmcraft, where you have different biomes that you plant in. They've done a solar car with NASA, the Rube Goldberg Foundation. With Rube Goldberg Foundation, you do a Rube Goldberg machine. So, and all of those can be done on a Chromebook.
Oh, on a Chromebook. So that's something that's fascinating. And asynchronously, of course, we know means not at the same time. So it has a window, I guess, that you work on it.
Yes. And it's submitted by video through Microsoft Flip, tools that we already use in the classroom.
Very cool. Okay. This seems like a lot. Why are schools hesitating? Why are schools telling you that they're not joining esports?
There's not a lot of schools that are refusing. Establishing a program year after year, getting the commitment from kids, getting the commitment from a teacher is a lot. We'll have 30 kids come to an interest meeting and 3 will play throughout the season. So it's hard to establish, just year after year, semester after semester, or season after season, whatever your league does. You probably have a teacher-run state league in your state. So just search your state Scholastic Esports and you will find them. It's hard for teachers, not to get burnt out, especially when they're 2 or 3 days a week for a Scholastic event that they're not getting a stipend for.
Well, the thing I like about esports is it reaches a different group of children than many other things do. It just does. And it's also taking kids who might be playing in isolation at home against who knows who they're playing at home, right? To an adult supervised activity that's also building face-to-face relationships. And the face-to-face relationships are so very important. And the truth is, when people play online with each other, they feel like they're friends, but that friend might be halfway around the world. Well, they can't have lunch with that person, right? So building those face-to-face connections with other gamers in their school, I think is a really healthy, good thing. I've seen some resistance to esports just out of concern of, oh, kids are playing too many games. But the statistics that I've seen are pretty overwhelming in terms of engagement in grades and what happens when those kids get involved. So as you look at all of esports, let's do a 1-minute elevator pitch to schools for why they should consider esports.
If you want students to come to school more, or if you want those students who haven't really found their place yet to really fit in at school, then you should consider having an esports team. Any teacher that is remotely tech savvy can handle it. It runs more like a track meet or a spelling bee than anything that you can think of. You probably already even have the equipment, because if it runs CAD or Photoshop, it will run all of these titles beautifully. And these type of programs catch a whole new group of students who haven't always been engaged, and raises their attendance, raises their academic achievement. Not only are they building connections at school, but at in-person events, they're building connections with other students that may not look or sound like them.
I love it. Danielle Johnson, Executive Director of the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation. Lots of organizations. Looks for the organization in your state or your district or your area, and get connected and explore this opportunity for your students. Thanks, Danielle. As I work to keep up my personal licensing, I'm looking at Forward Edge and their Edge U Badges program. You can earn contact hours or graduate credit through this fantastic program. In this program, you earn micro-credentials for submitting tasks and learning content. Edge U Badges has former teachers review every single badge within 1 to 3 business days of submission, and no badge is ever denied without very specific feedback on what you and I can do to resubmit successfully, as well as the positive feedback we need on successful submissions. While classroom teachers like me and you are the primary beneficiary of this flexible, useful system of Edu Badges, everyone from administrative assistants to administrators will find this helpful. This program has the ISTE seal of alignment, and Edu Badges will work with you to help your district accept your transcript for licensure renewal hours. I've been looking for micro-credentialing that works and have finally found it. I'm so excited about this program of Edu Badges from Forward Edge. So check them out at coolcatteacher.com/edge. and use the coupon code COOLCAT for $20 off a premium account. That's coolcatteacher.com/edge and use the coupon code COOLCAT for your discount. Let's learn in personalized ways that work for us. And that's what you'll get at Edu Badges.
You've been listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. If you want more content from Vicki Davis, you can find her on Facebook, X.com, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Cool Cat Teacher. Thank you for listening.